Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to the September 9th regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting. Our first order of business will be the swearing in of our new board member, Dr. Jane Wilderson. That will be done by Sheila Keating from the County Clerk's office. So if both of you will come forward, we'll do the swearing in first. Oh, you're just staying there somewhere, I guess. Please be seated. It's right beside Rodney. Oh, okay, Jane. Yeah, they want to get one more picture for the newspaper, I suppose. That's okay. Thank you, Sheila. We do have one public comment. That is Jonathan Yoder, who wants to talk about the Swan Meadow Heritage Charter School. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Jonathan. I got to read the disclaimer about public. Go ahead. Have a seat. Garrett County Board of Education is pleased to receive comments and ideas from our public pertaining to policies, procedures, and/or practices of the school system. We ask that comments be limited to a maximum time of 3 minutes per individual unless otherwise considered by the board president. There will be no discussion or action taken at the meeting, but we may be considered at a future meeting. Issues that are specific to individual employees should be referred to the immediate supervisor for appropriate consideration and review. Rude, slanderous, threatening remarks, or other behavior that is disruptive or interferes with the order of the meeting will not be permitted. Topics excluded from public comment are individual personnel issues, comments identifying individual students or staff members, matters that are on appeal or may be appealed or have been appealed, topics for which the board schedules formal public hearings, advertising or solicitation for products and or services. With that being said, Jonathan, please give us your comments.
Well, hello. On behalf of the Board of Directors for Swan Meadow Heritage Charter School, it's still a mouthful. I'm here today. As you know, we have retracted our application. For that, it was not an easy decision to make, but we felt and we still feel that it was the right one. I've been here, we've been here many times in the last 2 years to ask for support, which you gave, and I'm here today to thank you for that support. You have supported us well, and just the opportunity to explore charter as an option. That unfortunately didn't work out this time, but there may be other times. And it has certainly been a learning experience. I think both sides of the table. But we thank you for that opportunity to learn, to work together. And we do plan, one of the things that we did was we worked through a grant for a playground at Swan Meadow. We do plan to fulfill our obligations with that. There's some ongoing things there. So we do plan to see that through. And we look forward to continuing on at Swan Meadow. We lost a fair number of our students, but we're gaining back, and we hope that will continue. We will continue to gain back. We do have our Swan Meadow Swan Meadow Harvest Sale planned for the 26th at 6:30 at the Pleasant Valley Community Center. So you're all welcome. We'd love to see you all there. But blessings to you as you do the work that you do. I can now appreciate and respect much more so than I did 2 years ago what you guys do and the work that it takes to operate the schools that we have. So thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan, and certainly on behalf of the board, we were disappointed as well. It didn't work out because we were, I think, the previous boards and this board has certainly been in favor of that as something that would be a viable option at Swan Meadow. But I also want to, as board president, thank Dr. McCartney, Dr. Miller, for all of their hard work, along with others, I'm sure, but primarily the two of them, to try to make this work as best we could. And certainly we have accepted your decision to resign or to take back the charter application. And hopefully things will work out well in the future.
Sure. Yeah.
And maybe we'll revisit it again someday.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. We're holding today's meeting at Northern Middle School, and we have just finished public comment. The board will recess and go into executive session and return at approximately 6 p.m. Under Section 3-305B, the General Provisions Article of Maryland Annotated Code, there are two reasons the board will go into closed session this evening: to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction; any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals; to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice on a legal matter. Specifically, the topics tonight will be 3-305B, 1, topic including certificated staffing recommendations; 3-305B, 7, topic including Route 40 Elementary School Solar Project. The reason these topics will be discussed in closed session instead of open session is follows: personnel topic pursuant to 3-305B1 disclosed above will be considered in closed session rather than open session because they include a discussion of specific employees, which is a confidential employment matter. The legal topic pursuant to 3-305B7 disclosed above will be considered in closed session rather than open session because the board will be receiving specific legal advice from counsel, which is protected by attorney-counsel privilege. Hearing that, are there any objections by any board member of going into executive session? Hearing none, is there a motion as such?
So moved.
So moved by Don. Second by Rodney. Discussion? All those in favor of recessing to executive session, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And we are in executive session. Good evening. Welcome to the September 9th, 2025 regularly scheduled Garrett County Board of Education. We're meeting this evening at Northern Middle School. We'll start with ask everyone to stand for a moment of silence, to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by our student board member. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Thank you. There is a change to the agenda that was published for the public agenda. We are taking the solar project that was an action item for tonight. We've tabled that until the 29th. When we have our audit meeting, we'll also add that to the agenda. There's some more information that the board has requested that we look at. So we'll take action on that on the 29th. With that being said, I'll take a motion to approve the public agenda.
So moved.
So moved by Don,
Second.
second by Sadie. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And it is adopted. The approval of the consent agenda, take a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Don.
Second.
Second by Rodney. All those in favor of the consent agenda as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And it is approved. Remind everyone that all of our closed session summaries and announcements the board wishes to make public can be found on our website. We certainly encourage you to go to the website to look for daily changes in the news of Garrett County's school system. Our first business is the Hickory Environmental Educational Center. You want to do it now? Okay. Let me back up. We do have one special announcement that we're have not put on our Board of Education site. So I'd like to make that announcement first, and then we'll move on to new business. So, Dr. McCartney, you have an announcement?
I do, and thank you. Thank you, Mr. Woods. So I'm going to read this statement. I have informed the Garrett County Board of Education that I will be resigning as Superintendent of Schools at the end of this school year on June 30th, 2026. The decision to retire was made with very mixed emotions, as I find what I do very personally rewarding. My successor will inherit a district filled with talented staff, fantastic students, and a supportive community. I will be working over the coming months with the Board of Education and my to-be-named successor to ensure a smooth transition. I've had an incredibly rewarding and wonderful decades-long career as an educator, beginning in 1971, with many of those years in Garrett County Public Schools. This is an outstanding school district, which I've experienced as a teacher, a teaching principal of Kitzmiller Elementary, in several central office positions, and for the last years as your superintendent of schools. It is a privilege to work with the caring and talented people in this district whose singular focus has been on our students. I've also been very fortunate to work with Board of Education members who care deeply about this community and its children. The partnership I have had with our board has focused on an unwavering commitment to student success, stewardship, and service to this community. And I'm very proud of our shared legacy reflected in instructional initiatives, student and public school advocacy efforts at the local and state level, and capital improvement projects that reflect this district's pride in its students and the importance of their educational experience. So, although the end of my career is near, we still have very important work to do in the weeks and months ahead. I look forward to partnering with each and every one of you, our students, our families, parent groups, our staff, and administrative team, and our community partners, and our Board of Education on this important work. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. McCartney. Obviously, we're the ones who should be thanking you. You've come in and really helped us at a very critical time that we needed help as a system and as a Board of Education. And your leadership has been nothing but impeccable in terms of the things that you have done for the system And as board president during your time, we've had many meetings and phone calls, and I will say you've done an outstanding job listening to other ideas and other thoughts as we solve problems. So on behalf of the board, we look forward to the next few months of completing the task. But I'm sure you are, much as I looked forward to retirement in 2008, maybe you'll end up in this seat someday as well. So congratulations on a great career. And again, we're really looking forward to the next few months finishing our job. And certainly any other comments by other board members, certainly feel free to speak.
Thank you, Dr. McCartney, for agreeing to come on as our superintendent. It's been wonderful working with you the last few years, and I've seen marked improvement in our system since you have been here. Thank you.
Okay, we will. Let's move on to the Hickory Environmental Education Center tree canopy classrooms. Mr. Shank will make that presentation.
Thanks for having me here. Dr. McCartney asked me to come and talk about this project that's been going on for about, I guess, a year and a half to try to make this happen, and it looks like we have a potential start date of construction. So let me just start by saying that Hickory is the Environmental Education Center for Garrett County Public Schools, and we try to make sure we meet all the requirements for environmental literacy when our students attend there. All students from grades K to 8 come to Hickory twice a year, and then high school students come once a semester based on whatever science class they are having. And pre-K comes once a year as well. So when you add up all those school visits, that's how we're proving that our kids are environmentally literate and able to check that box off. So this started, again, a comment from a student that was hiking on a trail with me, and he said, these trails are cool, but it'd be really neat if we could get up into a tree. And so that was in the spring of 2024, and I sort of thought about what he had said and if there was a way we could do that. I started looking at some other environmental centers around the country and what they were doing and what kind of things they had. And I came across these tree canopy classrooms that had a walkway out to different trees. And then it became, are there any companies near us that do that kind of thing? And then how would we fund something like that? And so Tree Top Builders, a company in Philadelphia that builds something very similar to what you're seeing on the screen. And they have been building 4 different schools and have a patented way of putting these in trees where you don't damage the tree, you don't hurt the tree. It has a pin where everything slides and the tree can still grow and do what it needs to do. And so when I met with them, I tried to get a ballpark price for what this would cost, and it was around $200,000, which again, that's a lot of money, but it was in the ballpark of something we could do as far as grants and things like that. And then I found my way to the Community Trust Foundation and the Naylor Family Grant. And I had a great meeting with the Naylors about supporting this. And Lon Naylor actually came to Hickory and toured the facility with me. He had never been there before. And I was able to show him how we would use this with kids and what we'd be able to do with it. And then after we submitted our grant, we were fortunate enough to be awarded $175,000 to build this. So between the Naylor Family Grant and Hickory Environmental Education Activity Account funds, it is scheduled to begin construction on October 13th right now. So I know you saw the pictures. The goal is to get kids up into the top of the trees or at least into the canopy and not seeing trees always from the stump area. It is big enough to hold 1 class on the inside. It's accessible for ADA students, and it has a 5-foot deck around the outside that we can use as well, and then the 2 walkways that go to different trees. We also had forestry come and look at the trees and make sure that our trees are healthy and the ones we are using are going to support this for many, many years. It is made out of basically vinyl, metal, composites, and so there really isn't anything on the outside of this that's going to show much wear over the years. There's not going to be a lot of upkeep, and it should be something that we can use for years and years and years with Garrett County Public Schools students.
May I add something? excuse me. I don't have a voice all of a sudden. But I wanted Mr. Shank to come so that the board and the public could see the vision that he had, making it a reality. And I also want to reinforce that all of this is Mr. Shank's work in finding funding to make this vision become a reality. And I am looking forward to visiting with students in that classroom to be with them as they're actually up in the trees, studying the trees.
Well, we're
Great
certainly
addition.
always looking for ways to make Hickory exciting for kids, and I want kids to want to go outside. It seems like in our generation now, it's really difficult to get kids to be excited to go outside. And so this is just one more thing between our trails and our bridges that we have made, and our amphitheater. Just one more thing that we can use to get kids to be excited to go outside and do things outside.
Is there an anticipated completion date?
I don't have an exact date. If everything goes well, weather, materials, everything like that, it will probably be done in about 3 weeks.
How high is it?
3 weeks. Yeah. The front deck, because of the slope of the land, the front deck where you go up on it, you're about 7 feet off the ground. But the back deck is about 18 feet off the ground. And then the platforms range between 20 to 25 off the ground. There is the ability to, in the future, to extend it. As you can see in the one picture, it also has a kind of like a cornered area. And we originally had designed another walkway to come off of that. We weren't able to fund that. But in the future, you could build another walkway off of that and connect it to this one and make it a loop. But we'll start here. That was enough. But we do have the ability to extend it down the road if we choose to do that.
And Mr. Woods, we will be sure that board members have an opportunity to visit. Yes, it may be in the spring. You may not want to do it in the winter, but we will be sure to do something to allow all of us to enjoy it.
It is not open to the public. I know that was a question that I'd heard a lot. We just can't do that. So it is locked on the walkway that comes up to it. And obviously we'll be using it with access as we see fit to try to make sure everyone is safe. And we have plans for how many kids can be on the walkway, how many kids can be on a platform at one time. We'll make sure we take care of.
How far is it
that.
from the main building at Hickory?
If you're familiar with where the campfire circle is at Hickory, this is just down over the hill from there. Dr. McCartney has been there and looked at it with me. So from the building, you're probably 400 yards from the building. But we have an area where we can easily get down to the campfire circle, and we've had students in wheelchairs get there. And then we have an improved trail that gets to this area, and then obviously we can go from there.
Pretty neat. Pretty neat.
We also want to make sure we don't want to put a burden on the Board of Ed. We know that funds are tough to come by, so.
You're the first guy that's ever come here and actually said that to us.
No, we know that. So we wanted to do everything we could to fund it that way. And I've already had a couple other people step forward and say, is there anything we can do to help out? Because eventually we're going to have to put some furniture and some things inside of it. So it will be. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm familiar with a charity that likes to help.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
I'm familiar with a charity that likes to help. So certainly, if you reached out to that charity, I'm sure you would get some positive from that conversation.
It will be 3-season to begin with. It does not have electricity. It doesn't have heat. So we'll use it when we can. But yeah, we have a lot of plans for it, how we will use it, what we'll do with it with kids.
Anybody else?
I just think it's so cool that you were talking to a student and you took into consideration what that student said. And now this, once this comes to fruition how that student's going to feel that they were definitely heard and about, I just think it's a neat concept too.
I hate to admit this, but I don't even remember who the student was, what school they're from, or what grade. It was probably second grade, something like that.
I'm
But
sure that
I don't
student's going to remember when this,
I'm going to have like 500 kids tell me that they were the one.
Jason, thank you so much. Thank you for your hard work to make it happen. I mean, it doesn't come easy. So we appreciate you putting the effort and the time into that.
Thanks. We definitely will invite everyone there, and we'd really like to, if we could someday, hold a board meeting, not in the tree canopy classroom, but in the planetarium at Hickory, which
We'd love to do that.
I think that would be a great location.
You give
for
us the invitation, we'll be there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cenk,
Thank you.
this is just a great addition to an already beautiful and wonderful environmental center that we have in Garrett County, which school systems, other school systems in Maryland and even in West Virginia come up and visit. Will they be able to take advantage of the canopy walk?
When possible. Union Educational Complex for years has paid to come and bring their kids because they don't have anything like Hickory that they can go to.
Wow.
And so, yeah, if we can work it out, we will definitely take other schools and other groups in there. Boy Scout groups rent our facility a lot, and I can see them carrying our mattresses down there and spending the night in that. I've talked to Garrett College. Kevin Dodge is excited to use that for his nighttime birds and sounds. All the windows and doors in there are screened, so even if you have to be inside, you're still going to be able to get lots of sunlight and sound and everything inside of there.
Yeah, wonderful addition.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, our next action item is the development of a swimming program for GCPS schools.
All right, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here this evening representing the School Activities Review and Evaluation Committee. We received a request to consider adding swimming to our extracurricular repertoire for Garrett County Public Schools. We actually got a request last year that was then sort of rescinded to look into this. This is coming from the non-school affiliated community swim team called the Manta Rays and that community. They did some analysis of their times compared to the state times and feel that we can be very competitive, if not somewhat dominant in swimming in Maryland. And so we received another request at the beginning of this school year to look at this. And the committee met on August the 8th. For those that aren't familiar, the extracurricular, the School Activities Review and Evaluation Committee is comprised of both principals, both athletic directors, both athletic trainers, and then 4 coaches, 2 from each school, representing both men's and women's sports in those schools, and then myself. We discussed the request, and after doing some consultation with Frederick County and my counterparts in Frederick County, and looking at the model that we use here in Garrett County for indoor track, there was unanimous agreement that we should try to offer this. We view it as a very low-cost opportunity for students here in Garrett County to add something to their opportunities and their interests, and we do think that we can be very competitive. It is a winter sport. One of the questions that I get asked frequently is who can we compete against? And you can compete in up to 10 events during the season. You have to compete in 2 events against Maryland teams. The closest Maryland swim teams are in Frederick County. Most of the high schools in Frederick County offer swimming. I have spoken to my counterpart in Frederick County, and he is open to them traveling to Garrett County to participate in a swim meet here at the Cark. And of course, Northern can swim against Southern and compete against each other. And we could probably certainly go to Frederick County in one of their facilities and swim as well. Locally, Morgantown, the Morgantown area has swim teams. Somerset High School in Pennsylvania and Somerset County has a swim team. So there are some more local teams that we can swim against, which is also acceptable to do. The state championship is February the 21st, so it is a little bit earlier, and it is at College Park, University of Maryland College Park. As you all saw in the memo that we provided summarizing our conversation, we unanimously support this request based on the following provisions, that no transportation would be provided. Transportation is the huge cost. We always run short on transportation. We've spoken with the college. They are very open to allowing GCPS to utilize the CARC for practices and meets, so that our students would have to get there. And because there would be a lifeguard there, the trainers were concerned because of the demand with basketball and wrestling that they would also have to be at the CARC for practices and/or meets. Because there's a lifeguard there, we didn't see a need for that. But of course, if someone was injured, those trainers would treat those student athletes just like anybody else at that time. We also recommended in talking with HR and finance that we allocate one head coach to each school with no assistants paid. They could have volunteer assistants. That would be consistent with what we do with indoor track on the scale of indoor track. There's also a fee that would be charged by the college, somewhere between $1,200 and $1,500. Some of that's to offset the lifeguard and so on. None of us thought that was out of the ordinary or out of question. So all said and done, if Garrett County would provide this opportunity and pay the higher end of the scale for the CARC usage, which was $1,500, and paid two coaches on step 3 of the coaching ladder, it would be $3,840 a year, which is less than what we pay some of our coaches at one school in some sports.
So we'd have a team from both Southern and Northern,
Yes,
and they would compete against each other probably?
yes.
Superintendent, you have to make a recommendation.
I
Yeah,
do,
something.
I do. And I'm looking at our memo, which we changed just a little bit, but to be clear on a couple points. Typically, I would ask for approval from the board of something of this nature as we were developing the budget. But this is coming in at this point from the committee. We're looking at a pretty low cost in order to offer a new opportunity to our students. This would be a part of our extracurricular activity budget line, which may need a little bit of modification, but not much to make this happen. All of that being said, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for our students and appreciate the work of the committee. So my recommendation is to approve the adoption of the winter swimming program for grades 9 through 12, beginning with the 25-26 school year.
Okay, Superintendent has asked the board to adopt a swimming program beginning with the 25-26 school year. Is there a motion as such?
Yep. So moved.
Motion by Don,
Second.
second by Rodney. Can I have discussion?
Yeah, sorry, I jumped.
No,
the gun.
you're okay. You're all right.
Any other costs associated with timers or Is there a referee for these
Uh,
matches?
to host a meet, there are, starters and timers and those types of things. I'll be very honest, I'm not extremely familiar with the sport. In speaking with some of the parents, they have it figured out how they can make that work. People who do those jobs and so on and so forth. So I think they are around and can be accessible.
Another question. I know we've been doing the Learn to Swim program for quite some time. I wonder how many of our athletes that would compete in this are actually learn to swim during our, elementary schools going up there.
My guess is all of them were there at this point. I'm glad you brought that up, though, Mr. Gladfelder, because I think it's very important for the community to know that this is a competitive swim team and not a learn-to-swim team. There will be a tryout. You have to be able to swim. You have to be able to compete, and that's an important distinction.
Yeah, but that opportunity wasn't there 20 years ago.
Correct.
When all you had was a lake and
Yeah.
a couple other swimming pools or ponds in the county.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing for the CARC too, I think.
I wanted to ask, is this a pilot program? My concern is with not providing transportation. We provide transportation for the other teams that do things. So is it potential that if this takes off to provide transportation? Because I see that as a huge barrier to some students.
We do not currently provide transportation to all sporting events. We do not provide transportation to indoor track, and that's kind of what we compared this to. Anything's possible if this turns up turning into a major thing where we have tens upon tens of students. The committee did not believe that would happen at least anytime soon, but we can certainly look at that year to year in the budget. In my conversation with Frederick County, it's a little different the way they do it. They have several schools that do not provide, matter of factly, the majority of their schools do not provide transportation for swimming because everything's off-site. So they don't do that in order to control cost as well. It is certainly possible to do. We could always add it, but the recommendation of the committee and the understanding of the parents that brought this forward was there would be no transportation, at least in the beginning.
Okay,
And
thank
that
you.
includes a meet, if we had a meet in Frederick,
Yes,
wouldn't provide
they would have to be able to get there.
Is there any anticipation as to how many kids are interested in both ends of the county?
There, interestingly enough, last year the request came from some southern end parents that I was speaking with. They thought there would be 2, 3, 4 students maybe interested in it. This year the request is coming from some northern end parents. They feel that there's going to be 2, 3, 4 students interested in it. I think between the two schools, I doubt in the beginning we're going to have 10 total student athletes. My guess is we'll be somewhere between 6 and 8. Although I hope it does. I know there are a lot of a lot of students involved in the Manta Rays program. How that translates as it moves forward will be interesting to see.
How many's involved in indoor track?
Not many.
Similar numbers.
Yeah, and it ebbs and flows. Some years there's a few. I know for a few years we've had 2, 3. Some years there's as many as maybe 7 or 8, depending on Southern traditionally has more students involved in indoor track than Northern. They haven't been large numbers.
Any other questions? Anyone? Okay, Superintendent has proposed to us, and there's a motion and a second on the floor, to adopt swimming at both high schools beginning with the 25-26 school year. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And it is unanimous.
Thank you, and
Thank
I'll
you.
keep you guys posted. I think it'd be a great opportunity for our students.
That goes, you mentioned Monongalia County. You go all the way down into Harrison County, Marion County, all those schools, Fairmont. I know Bridgeport's state champions almost every year. So it goes down in there. So there's many schools to compete against. That's only an hour away.
Yeah, it's not that far.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we're going to move on to our FY '26 capital improvement plan. This is a draft for tonight, and Mr. Wood will make that presentation.
Good evening. Yeah, here to present the capital improvement plan draft. In your package, you'll see all new items are shown in red. You will also see a slowdown in projects. Most of that is due to limited funds from the IAC. There are a number of changes this year. Many of those are due to not moving forward with the northern grade band realignment. You'll also see some new funding sources. In order to keep projects going, we're exploring new funding paths or new funding opportunities. Some of those opportunities are from ARC, Appalachian Regional Commission, and Maryland Energy Administration for some of the electrification projects. That's all I have on that one.
You might, Dr. McCartney, you or Mr. Whit, either one, might explain in a little more detail the forward funding dilemma that
Sure.
got laid on our lap.
Okay, I will try to take that on.
Okay.
What Mr. Witt is referring to, as we were looking at the projected estimated project cost at Broadford, we expected to receive through the IAC particular amounts of money each year. The IAC, it was about 6 million. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me that we were short this year.
$6,993,000.
$6,993,993. So what we looked at was, number one, we did not want to change and was very happy that the board agreed. We didn't want to change the scope of the project at Broadford. We're also into the project, so making a change would be extremely difficult. We expect that the funds will come through the IAC because we get a minimum of about 2.7 million a year from the IAC. So what we are doing is through our local budget, through our fund balance, we will be paying for part of the project and then eventually repay our fund balance with the IAC money. That required us, though, to look at the CIP and look at what projects we might be able to do and when we could do them. The other thing for all of us to remember is that we have an opportunity every year to revisit these projects should we decide to do so. The other thing that affected this particular CIP was that because of funding problems, we believe, the IAC was not able to award us Healthy Schools money, which we were going to use for a roof at Accident and, I believe, Friendsville.
Correct.
So other decisions that were made when we looked at that was that we could hold on Accident for just a while, reapply, hopefully the Healthy Funds money will be available. We also decided, Mr. Witt did a review with Friendsville with his staff and decided that we could hold on that roofing project until we're ready to renovate the school and hopefully be able to do it all in that renovation. So those projects were also modified on the list.
Thank you. Yeah, someone looking at this, perhaps on our website, might say, well, what's that all about?
Right.
What's that 6.9
Well,
million about?
the 6 million was a surprise. But I am very pleased that we're committed to doing the Broadford project as we all envisioned that school to be.
Other questions about CIP? Is a draft. We'll take it up as an action item next month, but, and there's obviously, if you have questions after the meeting, certainly let Dr. McCartney know what those are and she'll relay them to Mr. Witt. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next item I'm here to present is the draft of the comprehensive maintenance plan. Again, all changes from last year to this year are shown in red. You'll see that a lot of the tables have been updated. This is to reflect the draft CIP. It's on purpose that the IAC has the due dates for both of these at the same time. They need to reflect one another. Maintenance schedules have also been updated to reflect the slowdown experienced with funding lately. And you'll see that some of the costs have been updated to be more accurate based on bids received.
Questions, concerns? I will say this, just one thing. I love the format. It's for those of us that don't know a lot about it, it certainly makes it a lot easier to look at the format.
Mark Green is a great help with that.
Well, thank you, Mark. But it is. It's much better. Best we've ever seen before.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. So looking at the organizational chart at page 3, so with the custodial staff, was that an increase or decrease from this past year?
That was a decrease by 2.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And to be clear, these reflect full-time staff, not contractual employees.
Other questions? Anyone? Okay. Again, we'll take it up as an action item next month. Thank you, and again, thank you, Mark, as well. Student Achievement Test Results, 2024, the MCAPs and the APs. Yeah, looks like Dr. Miller and this morning will make that presentation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So tonight we're going to be going over the state assessment and advanced placement results for this past school year. And so just as a brief review, this first slide goes over the assessments that we're looking at. Maryland Comprehensive Assessment Program is the umbrella for all of our statewide administered assessments. And tonight we'll be looking at English Language Arts in grades 3 through 8 and grade 10, as well as math, same grade bands, and science in grades 5 and 8. So on this first slide, this is focused on English Language Arts proficiency by county. And you'll notice that Garrett is within the top 2 tiers of performance. We are sitting at a 50.6% proficiency rate for all tests administered, which puts us at 13th within the state, which is consistent to last year. We did see a slight increase from last year. Last year was 50.1%, and this year 50.6. It's okay. This slide shows state assessment data for Maryland, not just Garrett County Public Schools. And what this slide portrays is year over year for the last 3 years, the proficiency rate at the state level by each grade. You will see that as a state, there has been a slightly rising trend for the last 3 years, with all ELA assessments coming out at 50.8% proficient. So we are sitting right at the state average for proficiency.
How long have we been using this same exact test?
It was definitely in place last year, and I would say the year before that as well.
This is the third year.
that's at
Those
least,
assessments haven't changed in those 3 years.
They have not changed.
no.
Yeah, because that, to me, that's an interesting thing to know, because you would think we as school systems and teachers be getting better at what we're doing, because we now know what's expected, which we're getting better. But, you know, I think all of us who are educators get frustrated with looking at 50%, 40%,
Yes.
37%, and say, what, you know, what's going on? But it's a national thing. It's not a Garrett County or a Maryland or anywhere else.
Yeah.
Actually, Maryland's a lot better than 99% of the rest of the states from what I've read.
You look like you want to say something, Dr. McCartney.
Because I did listen when the state, to the state board meeting, when the results were being shared at the state level also. And there were two things that our esteemed state superintendent said that have stayed with me. One was that a lot of us have lost some confidence in the test. But the more important part that she said that stayed with me, because it does lead to a little less confidence in the test, that the question has become, are the standards that we're being asked to teach aligned with the test? So the good news on all of that, and not to steal your presentation here, the good news is not this year, but next year, next school year, we'll have a new test. This test will have, I believe, a firmer background, because the current test was not reviewed by national psychometricians. And a test of this nature should be. The new one will be. So our commitment is, of course, to our students, and you'll see AP results in a few minutes that also show how well our students are doing. And our commitment instructionally is, we know what the standards are, and we're addressing the standards, even though they've changed a little.
They've been revised.
Yeah, sorry.
For implementation in 26, 27. The new standards have just recently been revised in the last 2 months or so. So we're going
And
to
as a 36-year teacher, I can tell you that's one of the most frustrating things that you go through.
because
You learn what they expect.
yeah.
You learn to teach what they expect, and they say, no, we don't do that anymore. Let's do something else.
Yeah. From what I understand, the ELA revisions are modest for the standards. The math are a little bit more significant. So we'll be taking some deep dives into that. So I'll let you talk about that a little later.
Sorry.
That's
No,
okay. That's
you're
okay.
fine.
You're allowed to
It's
jump in
important to
whenever
note
you
those
want
things.
to. So this slide takes Garrett County specific English language arts results and looks at it by grade level. The green box indicates year-over-year increases from last year, and you'll see the Maryland proficiency rate all the way to the right. And you can see that most of our grade levels did make year-over-year improvement. Most notable was English 10 with a fairly significant increase from 56.3% to 66.06%. And then you can also see all the way at the bottom, the 50.61% for all grades is a slight increase as well for us, and right at the state average, as I said before. The other thing notable on this slide, just to be aware of, we continue to see very low percentages at level 1, which is very good. It's very promising. But our attention, obviously, is to still bring up those students that are at that level. But there's a large number of students that are on the cusp of being at proficient. And so as we're focusing on school improvement, we really need to work towards moving those students over to level 3.
Yeah, that's something people don't understand, that there's levels.
Yes.
And how close are we with a lot of our students to be proficient?
Right.
I mean, it's based on a score, I assume, on the test. And, you know, or if the score is 90 and you're 89,
Right.
you're pretty close.
Yes, and we looked at that for math earlier today. We did not pull it for ELA yet, but I think Amy will be able to share with you. There's a number of students that are very close in math to moving over into proficient.
Yeah, so. But realistically, how high can this be? What is a realistic number for proficiency? Because in Maryland, it's not over 59.
Right now, well, the highest in Maryland is 68.5%.
where's
So
that?
when you look at ELA proficiency across the state, the county that is the lowest proficient is at 31.2%, and the highest proficiency is 68.5%. So all of us have room for targeted improvement, for sure.
Okay.
So.
Wait, it's opening.
Oh,
There. Okay.
it's happening.
Okay, so what you're going to see here are slides that are similar to what was presented for English language arts. So this slide shows each county, and again, Garrett County is performing in the top 2 tiers for proficiency, which is comparable to last year. We were ranked 9th when compared to all LEAs, which was where we were at last year as well. So this slide shows each of the math assessments in the state for each grade level over a 3-year period. You'll note again here that there is a slight rising trend over the 3 years.
Do they ever, in your meetings, discussions, do they ever talk about how state tests compare to state tests? Does that ever come up in a discussion? Because it's like we're always looking at an apple versus an orange.
I don't believe you can very easily compare state over state tests, because or one state to another, they're going to have different standards, they're going to have different assessments. So you're going to be comparing apples against oranges. Where they tend to go when they're looking across states is the NAEP assessment. And that is a randomized group of students across the nation that take that assessment, but that you're able to compare apples to apples.
It becomes a hard argument when you're trying to convince somebody from another state, I'll leave the state unknown, that we're doing a great job in Maryland, but did not share the math percentages. And so, well, it doesn't look like a great job to me. 19%, 21%, 32%. You know, we're 45%, we're 51%. And I keep saying, yeah, but are the tests the same?
No, they're not.
I think historically, we've always felt in Maryland, our tests are strenuous. They're not easy. They're high expectations. Certainly, we have high expectations that our students will go even higher. But I don't know. I know the NAEP test does that, but again, it's a kind of a, you know,
The only other one that you could compare AP is
Yeah,
national. So
sure.
you can look at that and.
but I think the AP thing speaks very highly about how well we do.
Yes.
Because I would imagine our AP results will go very favorably against any other district, anywhere.
Yes.
And we all take the same test.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Yep, we're going to get to those.
I was a past AP teacher, I put that in.
Yes.
Okay, so this slide shows Garrett County's performance for each of our grade levels and then the grade bands below in blue. So where you see a green box indicates an increase over 2024 results. The most significant increase for Garrett County was in Math 8 with a 37.24%, where last year we were at 16.4%. So one thing that I do think is important to note on this slide in particular are the grade bands and our comparison to the Maryland performance in each of those grade bands. Our Algebra 1 results are expected due to the change in our course sequence last year at the secondary level. So what you see represented in this chart would be students that were retesters, because we didn't have any students enrolled in the Algebra 1 course last year.
And that's
Yep, so
really
those are
important.
expected.
Really important to note, because that stands out.
Yes,
If
that
you don't
is,
know
yep.
the reason why.
And the noticeable increase in Math 8 is part of that strategy as well.
Sure,
So
yes.
all of our 8th graders took the 8th grade assessment, and we were able to ensure that every 8th grader received instruction on all of the Math 8 standards, which is very important as we're moving up through algebraic thinking.
Yep. And I think this is where we want to talk about the number of students that are within 10 points for all of our math assessments. We have about 21% of our students right now that are within 10 points of proficiency for math. That's a significant number of students that are really close.
Right on the cusp.
Yep.
Do you, I'm trying not to monopolize the conversation, but I skip questions. I better ask them or I'll forget them. Do you look at a third grade group, what they made last year, what they made this year as a fourth grade group?
Mm-hmm.
Do you analyze those comparisons to see is that group getting better or worse?
Yeah, those comparisons are typically done at the school level within the school improvement teams. Yep.
Because it would seem to me like that's really important information.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, okay.
There we go. All right, so moving on to science. So this slide represents Maryland science proficiency across the state of Maryland. And we're looking at grades 5 and grade 8. And you can see for grades 5, there was a slight increase year over year, but as a state, we have not yet surpassed 2023 proficiency. And then for grade 8, a much more notable increase across the state and has surpassed 2023 and 2024. For Garrett County Public Schools specifically, this slide lifts up our local scores for the last 3 years. And you can see on this slide, there's a notable increase in grade 8, and grade 5 has maintained year-over-year performance. I would note that overall, in both grade bands, GCPS consistently scores above the state average.
All right, so here are the advanced placement results for GCPS. One thing to note is we do have a cluster of exams there to protect student confidentiality because those student groups were less than 10. But we did want to acknowledge we had an increase of participation over last year with over 70 exams, 70 more exams, with an increase in our success rate overall. We had 5 exams with 100% success rate. And what you see reflected in the chart is the hard work and dedication of our AP students and staff. And Mr. Edwards has multiple times told me that these are probably some of the best AP results that we've seen in Garrett County Public Schools. So,
Maybe you know the answer, maybe you don't. What's seminar?
it is replacing English 10, so our advanced students take seminar instead of English 10.
It's also, it is under the English Language Arts umbrella. It also is the one of 2 courses that allows us to offer the AP Capstone Diploma. So when we think about our blueprint initiatives, one of the things that we've wanted to offer our students is the opportunity to get AP Capstone. In order to do that, you need to take, I believe it's 4 AP courses of any other subject, but you have to have seminar and you have to have research. So last year was the first time we offered seminar, and we had a good number of students take it and perform very well. And this year will be the first time we offer research.
Super.
The other thing I would add, because I was asked recently about students and how many of these students who take AP actually take the exam. We only had 2 students last year opt not to take the exam.
So you can't opt out.
You can opt out. You do get a decrease in the amount of overall GPA points. So you get a 0.5 added weight to your GPA for taking an AP course without the exam. You get a full point if you take the exam, regardless of your score. And we had 2 that opted out, but the rest of the students who took AP courses took the exam, which is great. I mean, that's what we want them to do.
Yeah, the results are incredible. Honestly.
The results are incredible in the number of students that we have taken AP and that is growing. Those 2 things together definitely show a lot of work on the part of our students and the part of our teachers.
So the last 2 slides go over some of the highlights from our instructional priorities as we think about how our students performed and our instructional priorities. We're going to continue to focus on teaching the standards, as Dr. McCartney said earlier, as we navigate many of the state changes that are occurring. We are emphasizing student engagement. That is a continuation from last year, while using a variety of instructional strategies such as explicit instruction, scaffolding, flexible grouping, and engagement strategies. So we're elevating those as strategies that we really want to focus on as we're implementing our instruction. We're also increasing our focus on professional learning communities to support teachers. You all know through the budget process that we have implemented 5 school improvement support teachers. We were very intentional in selecting the schools in which we were going to start working in with our school improvement support teachers. So that will be a new initiative this year that we will work on to help support our teachers and students. And then, of course, strengthen our supplemental and intensive supports for Tier 2 and Tier 3. That includes our second year, which I kind of consider our first year because we just did a very soft entrance into Panorama last year. We just got initial understanding of the platform and dipped our toe into using it and getting familiar with it. This year will be at full implementation of using the Panorama platform to help us support our Tier 2 and Tier 3.
How did it go with Panorama? Because we had a concern about that, I think, last year.
It went very well. We were able to pilot several intervention groups using the platform, and we worked through several of the learning curve bugs that you end up going through when you adopt a new program. We also did the behavioral health screener. I think that may be what you're more referring to. And we did the first administration of that last spring. Went very well. We had good participation rates. We got very good data from that, and we will be looking at implementing our first round for this year in a few weeks. So you'll be seeing some press around that as we communicate it to our community and schools that we'll be doing. Same survey as last year, to the same grade bands, but it'll allow us to see year-over-year comparison data so that we can support our students.
In addition to what Dr. Miller has already shared with you, we are going to provide opportunities for school improvement teams to learn from one another. We're going to be working to implement new knowledge about research and math education from ongoing assessment projects, also known as OGAPs, proportional reasoning. So this is a content-specific professional learning opportunity that we provided to our teachers over the summer, 4 days of math training, which we received very positive feedback about. So we are really looking at how we can offer more math content-specific opportunities, and we're looking at fractions. With the adoption of the statewide math policy, we've been asked to gather a liaison team that will engage with MSDE to support continuous improvement in student learning experiences and outcomes. This team will consist of our school improvement support teachers that Dr. Miller has referenced, in addition to Mrs. Candy Most and I. And we'll be looking at how we can improve instruction through the implementation of the math policy initiatives. We're all, oh, yes, yep. Right now they are planning to do monthly meetings. They're virtual with those teams. So we're looking forward to those opportunities. We'll also be leveraging the Read and Lead grant funds to target literacy achievement gaps to ensure access to evidence-based instruction to meet the needs of all of our literacy learners.
Questions, concerns? Anyone? Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. Certainly very good news, especially the AP news. That's just outstanding. It just truly is. We still pay for those, don't we?
Yes.
We're getting our money's worth.
Yes, we are. We are. Yes, we do pay for the exams.
Thank
And
you.
that's probably one of the reasons why we have such a great rate of student.
I think so
taking
too.
the
Sure.
exams.
Yeah, no, a lot of people are going to opt out of that if they know they have to pay for it with perhaps no reward. Yeah, great.
That is part of the blueprint expectation, that the post-CCR pathways are.
Yeah, we're way ahead of Blueprint. We're way ahead of them.
We are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
And I'll just add, at the beginning of the year, as we were meeting with teachers and principals as we started the year, it's okay to be a tier 2.
We want to be.
We
a
know
tier
we're a
one.
tier 1.
Yeah.
And we need, no matter what the test is, to continue to concentrate on being sure that the rest of the world knows that, because our results will continue to improve. So, thank you both.
Thank you.
Not just for tonight. Thank you.
It is 7 p.m. It's a little after. There is no public comment, so just for the record, no one signed up for the 7 o'clock public period. Okay, Dr. Miller.
All right, so next is the virtual learning plan for inclement weather for 25-26 school year. And I'm presenting this as a first read tonight. I am sure that you have been in it and have noticed that there's some red type in there. Those primarily represent the changes. Major changes include from last year, obviously the dates being updated to reflect the current year. There has been no new language in the law. We're operating under the same law that we were operating under last year, so that's a benefit. But we did learn from last year with several of the instances of virtual learning, and we knew we needed to put in the plan an opportunity for a 2-hour delay schedule. So that is one of the main changes, is the inclusion of a 2-hour delay virtual schedule. So in the event that a later start is necessary at the discretion of the superintendent, that will be available this year, pending, obviously, the board approval of this plan. There is a sample schedule included in the plan for schools to use to develop an appropriate option for them. What that will do is allow both students, families, and staff time to adjust to a 2-hour delay schedule if it is warranted and the superintendent decides to do that. There's also a change in language around increasing the clarity for staff to ensure that it's very transparent about the need to plan for at least 2 consecutive virtual days at any given time. We did have several consecutive last year, and it was important to make sure that we were very clear about that in our plan. We did, at the time in which we created this 2-hour delay schedule, work with our negotiating groups, GCEA and GASA, and so they were also involved in helping us create these schedules.
Questions, concerns? Rodney?
So this thing reads, new this year, in the event of a 2-hour delay, in the event that a 2-hour delay is needed on a virtual learning day. I understand but why? I don't understand the wording here. So you have a scheduled virtual day, and then the weather improves, and we can actually bring the kids in?
No, and I can certainly look at the words here, but basically what we're saying is if people need more time, right now, if we call a virtual day, virtual instruction starts right and early, right at 8 o'clock.
This is for the teachers and the.
So if people need additional time to get to their work location and it's warranted to have a 2-hour delay, this schedule allows us to start virtual learning a little bit later at 10:15. We do have some staff that go to work site in order to connect to the internet.
I just thought.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Is that, okay.
Anyone else? You have questions?
You're just gonna have to look at how bad the weather is. So how will you know to do the 2-hour delay? Because you've called off school already, right? So, or you made it virtual.
So we've made a decision to go virtual. And once we make that decision, if the weather, if the information I get from transportation and from Mr. Witt leads us to believe that it would be safest to give all of our staff 2 hours to get to their teaching site, because we do have staff that don't have internet at home, or
Sure.
they simply prefer to be at the schoolhouse to do the virtual learning.
I don't know if the county does a 2-hour delay on their workforce or not, but if they did that, yeah, I guess you could go on that schedule too.
Right. Yeah. I don't know that they do, but I know other counties do 2-hour virtual delay schedules
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
to keep everyone safe.
Yeah, that, I never really thought about that till we had this discussion. That's a really fine line for you, to put you in, because A, it's too bad to go to school, so we're gonna do a virtual day. Well, if it's too bad to go to school, we're gonna do a virtual day, wouldn't all those people still have a hard time getting in at 8 o'clock? I mean, what would make me believe they couldn't get in at 8 o'clock?
Well,
I don't know, well,
I'll add.
I don't know.
I'll add, these are always hard. There's not a morning in the winter when the phone goes off at 4:30 or 4:45, but it's not hard. But there were a couple times this past winter where I would have been much more comfortable if I could have called a 2-hour virtual delay for some of our staff. Just gives them a little bit more time. And if the students are on a virtual day schedule, they're on a virtual day schedule. I did not see 2 hours as being of concern to them. It just gives us another tool that we might be able to use during the winter weather. I hope never to use it, but I think we need to have it available.
See, December, January, February, March, maybe April, 5, just got 5 more months to worry about it.
Yeah, 5 more months, yeah.
Okay, this is a draft, so there's action item next month.
Yes, and I probably should have added that we will be getting public comment. So tonight, I believe, or tomorrow morning? Yeah, tomorrow morning, Mark will be putting out a release to request for public comment, and that period will last through September 26th. So we encourage the public to share their thoughts on this plan. The feedback we get will be shared with the superintendent, the board, and on the it'll be posted under our public board docs at the October board meeting.
Okay. All right, thank you. Student member report. Cadence?
All right, thank you. So with students just being welcomed back, this past, well, the 2nd of September, I don't have much to report on as far as student activities. Nevertheless, most notably, our athletes have been very busy with most of their seasons already beginning. As far as our county student council, we are working to have a retreat at Hickory September 19th through the 20th. We are currently planning our October General Assembly where hopefully our state student member of the board plans to be in attendance. And then as far as things I'm working on, applications for my advisory council will be released this Friday. The goal of this is not to have just another student council. It is to reach out to be representative of the student population. So I'm looking for students in all grades, students involved in athletics, students involved in our CTE programs, to make sure that I'm hearing a wide variety of voices. And then additionally, I got to attend the MABE new student member orientation this past month. And so far, that's all I have.
Great. Any questions for Cadence? Okay. Thank you, Cadence. Board member updates? Anybody have anything they want to share? As a part, I don't know if you're going to do it, Dr. McCartney, I'll do it. We meet the 29th of September. We have changed that. I think we initially had a different time. Now I think we're going to meet at 3 p.m. And we're actually going to meet at 2 to tour the new Broadford School, and meet at 3 p.m. in public session to discuss the solar project. And then we will go from that item right into our audit. So just, and we'll get all that out on the website and get it out in the news, but that is somewhat of a change. Okay.
Mr. Woods, but I'm just going to add to your September 29th. One of the things that would be very helpful to us, because parking is somewhat limited at Broadford, and we could be in dismissal time, would be for board members to meet at our office and carpool over to the school. Sure. So if you could accommodate that, we'd appreciate it. So if we saw you at the office at about 1:45 or 1:50, then we'll carpool over to the school. Okay, thank you. There are some important dates that are coming up. So even though they're on our website, I wanted to bring them to the attention of our community. On September 17th, there will be be a half-day staff development with students being dismissed 3 hours early. And then on October 2nd, already, progress reports for the first grading period will be released. On Friday, October 3rd, want to remind board members and members of the community, we're just getting this information out, but there will be a special dedication for the Southern Garrett High School Field House. And that dedication will occur at halftime of the Southern Garrett and Berkeley Springs football game, which begins at 6:30 that evening. On Thursday, October the 9th, we have a staff development scheduled with a 3-hour early dismissal for students. And then we will be closed, schools will be closed on Friday, October the 10th for Autumn Glory Weekend. And finally, I would just like to thank our staff and our community for supporting an excellent start to our school year. So thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Go to the order? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Take a second by Don. Second?
Second.
Second by Rodney. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay, and we are adjourned.